Hi everyone. So in this video, we'll see how we can uh, get the updated configuration properties without refresh of microservices, okay, or without restart. So in the last video, we had seen how we can push the new changes and how with restart those changes get reflected in the two microservices which we created, that is the inventory service and the product service. Okay, let's quickly see if those things are up and running. Okay, so I have the config server URL. With product service URL, we try to get the product service properties, which are these properties, and obviously the global application dot properties key value pairs also come into picture here. Okay, and then we have these microservices. The first one is the inventory service running on port 8002. Okay, we saw how after restart it got the new property uh, from the config repo. And if I quickly check the product service, we will see uh, the updated properties coming from product service from the product config, that is product service dot properties, and any property which is not there in the service specific properties file comes from your global application dot properties file. Okay, that also we saw. Now what we'll do is we'll quickly uh, go to our config repo which contains the three property files. What I'll do is I'll make a quick change here. I'll make it e-commerce 2. uh, Instead of e-com, we'll make it e-commerce. Inventory service, I'll make it 2 full stop, and product service also I'll just make it 2 full stop. Okay, so some change I wanted to do, which I have done. Let's quickly push these changes. Okay, let's push these changes to the repository. And now if I reload the product service with config server, it should automatically give me the updated properties without me restarting the config server. Okay, so let's check that out. Yes, so we have the updated properties as we can see here. Okay, but for the individual microservices, we will not get the new property. As we see, we still are getting the old property only. I checked the other microservice also, that also didn't get updated. Okay, so the way to do that is there are basically if you go to your product service, we added one dependency for actuator. Okay, now is when the actuator comes into picture. So what we need to do is we have to uh, first put the refresh scope. Okay, annotation. So wherever you want the properties update to happen, you know, in that class, you need to put this refresh scope. So in our case, we have anyway only one controller. We want the updated properties coming from the config server. So we have put the @refresh scope here. Okay. And other thing we want to do is uh, put one property in application.properties. Let me quickly get that property. Uh, from the chat GPT. I just asked for the web exposure application property. It is giving me these properties. Okay, this is what I needed. So we are exposing the endpoints, and star means we are exposing all the endpoints. This is what we need to put in both these services. Okay, let's put it in the inventory service as well. Same changes. Okay. Uh, let's rerun these services once with the new changes. Okay. So product service is up and running. Uh, so if I just try getting the service, it will come. Okay, because we have restarted that application. Okay, will contain the new property, which is absolutely fine because we anyway restarted. Okay. But uh, if I change the property now to say three, three here, and I push those changes, we still see the old property. Okay, because we didn't restart now. Okay, we only restarted to get the changes which we did, that is the application property change related to the web exposure and at the rate refresh scope we added. So we wanted to get that into account in our code. Okay. But still with restart, the new changes are not getting reflected with our individual microservices. Okay. So for that, what can be done is we can make use of actuator endpoints. Let me go to Postman. So with actuator endpoint, let's do this for our product service which runs on port 8003. So with actuator slash health, you can get the health of the application. So it says status up, which means the application is up and running. So if you require to know whether this particular service is up or no, you can make use of this particular endpoint with a get method. Okay. And to do the actual actuator refresh, which will refresh the config properties, you need to put this endpoint actuator slash refresh with a post method. Okay. And an empty body. Okay. And it will give you what properties got changed from the last update. So yes, so these are the properties it is telling which got changed. Okay. Okay. Now if you just refresh, it will give you the new property with product 3. Okay. uh, if you check on 8002, it will still give you the old one because I think it has still not restarted. There is some issue with the inventory service, but yeah. You got the point. So the inventory service will also behave in the same way. You can call the actuator refresh endpoint for the inventory other service also, and it will basically update. It will update the properties, and then when you try to call your APIs, it will basically come up with the new properties. Okay, as we saw with the product service. Okay, so hope this is clear as to how we can uh, refresh the configuration without restart of services. And what can be done is, for any update happening, especially to the configuration files, uh, you can have this automation in place where you call the actuator refresh endpoint after each update or each commit to the config repo. Okay. So once you have that automation in place, then no need for you to restart the services every time for these services to get the new changes, for the services to get the new configuration changes into them. Okay. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. Uh, And yeah, one last thing is, when you do this refresh again, it will give you an empty thing, empty array. It should give you an empty array because after that, the refresh didn't happen. So let's check that out also. So yes, now we get an empty array, which means, from the last refresh, there was no uh, update which happened. Okay. So well, yes, that's what I wanted to cover in this video. Hope it was informative, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.